Hello Mzansi, sanamkela la Dijo Bophelo on SABC2. The aim of our show is to help deal with food-related issues in order for us to live healthier and happier lives. Every week sinimeme ukuthi nisibuze zonke bonke enifuna ukwazi about ukudla, and then get nasimeme ongqondo bethu ukuthi baphendule imibuzo yenu. Namhlanje ke sikhuluma ngepregnancy nogoloko. Tsakane uposte i-video on our Facebook page with a few questions ngalolu daba.
Dumelang Dijo Bophelo. Ke kgopela thuso mabapi le moredi ya ka o nwa jwala kudu and o pregnant.
Sathi shwi sayihlangana noSakane to learn more about her before we answer her questions. Akesibone.
Dibitso la ka ke Tsakane wa Rankuna. Ke dula mo Winnie Mandela ka Mothembisa. Ke na le 46 years. Ge ke se go mmerekong nako e ntši ke rata go raloka le bana, ke rata bana. Nna mo community-ing ke tsebega ke le mme, ke tshwenya ke gore bana ba matšatši a ba tshwane le bana kwela rena re gola. Bana ba matšatši ba rata jwala, ba rata di-drugs, ba rata dinyago penke, ba rata go jaiva bosigo kaofela. Ge ke compare life ya bona no, a e tshwane le ya rena nako ela. Nna ke nagana ka nna ke gotse ke raloka bolo. Beneri keep up busy ka bolo. So bona these days bona ba keep up busy ka di drugs di jwala di lo mama. So ke ntho ba bona nka re bona ya ba thabisa. And ba bone ntho e wrong ka yona. Ntho e ntho ba etsang kudu gore o mongwe ba ke ba adoptileng o pregnant and o nwa jwala too much. A rata dijo rata jwala fela no pregnant. Ntho e ntshonyang kudu gore ke kwele gore motho ge a le pregnant a e nwa jwala kudu. Bo fet ntho e fetse affecta ngwana. That's why ke nyaka clarity gore na re ka e solve jwang ntho gore a imenyana ka jwala until a khumana ngwana.
We are joined by mental health specialist and wellness practitioner Kgothatso Matlala Phokontsi, who will be answering Tsakane's questions. Please join ingxoxo yethu ku Facebook, na ku Twitter, na ku Instagram. Ku Facebook uzothi Dijo Bophelo, na ku Instagram Dijo Bophelo, ku Twitter @Dijo Bophelo. Bese uyang-emaila uthi dijolebophelo@sabc.co.za. Siyabuya manje after this short break. It's called a pregnant pause. Welcome back. Usasenam la Dijo Bophelo. Namhlanje sikhuluma nge-fetal alcohol syndrome and foods that can help women have healthy pregnancies and babies, of course. Mental health specialist and wellness practitioner Kgothatso Matlala Phokontsi will be giving valuable answers to Tsakane's questions. But let's find out more about our guest. Before the break, we heard that Tsakane is searching for expert information to help her daughter avoid getting a fetal alcohol syndrome, so that she can have a healthy pregnancy. She has specific questions that she posted on our Facebook page, so we'll be answering these questions with our expert guest namhlanje. You can also have your say kule ngxoxo yethu while ungasitweet uthi @Dijo Bophelo, or use Facebook, or use Instagram @Dijo Bophelo, or email me dijolebophelo@sabc.co.za. Kgothatso, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's jump into the issue. What is this fetal alcohol syndrome, and why is it that people are not taking it seriously?
So basically, fetal alcohol syndrome is a condition that a baby or a child has. We notice it after birth as a result of alcohol intake or exposure to alcohol in utero, meaning when the mother is pregnant. And a lot of people, especially South African, because I was looking at our statistics, we are the highest in the world.
No.
So we do not have maybe enough knowledge, or it's a host of issues why this is not being taken seriously.
I mean, you saw here on the insert, you do realize that it's actually the mother that's worried about this. So it's always the people that are actually going through it don't realize that it's an issue. They wouldn't come to you and say, I think I've got a problem, I'm pregnant and I'm drinking. Whereas others will say, I didn't know I was pregnant. You know what I mean? So then there is that issue after the child is born, and then big surprise because there was not enough information about how serious this issue is, how severe it is for the unborn child.
I think one of the things is we need to realize sometimes the mother is struggling with addiction, especially when they know that they are pregnant and are struggling to break an addiction during pregnancy. And we do find that in other cases, it happens when the parent does not know, or the mother does not know that they are pregnant. But the sad thing about alcohol during pregnancy is it can cause significant damage even in the very early stages of pregnancy when the woman does not know. Right? So it would be wise for us not to consume alcohol, but of course we are not taking choice away from an individual. But in all reality, when we are looking at the whole spectrum of health, there is no space for alcohol if you're trying to achieve health. So it's a lifestyle-related decision. And that lifestyle-related decisions tends to be safer when you don't consume alcohol then, because it does prevent in cases where we just conceive. You know, most of us don't know when we've conceived.
And what do we say about the women who consume alcohol knowing that they're pregnant? Because I have got a friend who said to me, oh, but I've had 2 babies and I've always been drinking alcohol. Look, my babies have turned out well. The babies have turned out well. Babies are 3, 4, but she doesn't realize that the damage only happens much later. So look, maybe she's already passed on and the damage will be, damage will happen post her death.
And again, what is normal?
Right.
What is my child turned out okay? We have children in schools that have cognitive delays. And, we have children that have impulse control disorders. So children that throw tantrums like crazy. And we're thinking, no, they're just being a child. But it could be some of this, because these are some of the symptoms of fetal alcohol syndrome, right? Or you could have a child with hearing impairments, or who struggles to see, and this poor little child needs glasses when they are 4 or when they are 5.
And alcohol could be the contributor.
Alcohol could be the contributor to that. They could struggle with so many things, social interaction, anxieties, and all these psychological damage in the future that you may not necessarily see in the first 5, 6, 7 to 8 years of life. And they start manifesting much more later. They struggle to make relationship between cause and effect, right? So this, of course, will affect their social well-being and how they relate with other people, because it is tougher for them to discern what the consequence of their behavior is going to be when someone else responds. So they tend to be what we would call social delinquents, for lack of a better word, right? So they get in trouble a lot. They also struggle with hyperactivity. So it's very difficult to keep them in a normal class with other children as well. And imagine then being taken out of a normal context of learning and being put in a remedial context that also has its own issues.
Yes, exactly.
Especially depending on which social economic status or class you're coming from. Because the less the education, the tougher the experience will be, because they become teased. Then they also have like physical disabilities that or features. One of the things they have tiny eyes that are
separated,
spread apart. And then they have, you and I have this bone right here. So with them, it's flat. No, they don't have that feature. So you can kind of see they kind of look.
So these
different.
are the effects of what alcohol did to them.
This is what alcohol did to them when they were still in the womb.
So can I just give an example? So you're saying with the bone here, do you think it ate away their calcium? Maybe I'm trying to figure out what is it.
Look, it could be, but that's just one of the distinctive features that they have, because remember, a fetus develops from that which it receives through the womb, the placenta, and all these other things. So when we put anything harmful or toxic in the body, it affects the development, even the physical features. So they are born at a very low birth weight, and they continue to be tiny little people as they grow. So you'll find that little child that is 7, but they look like they're 5. Right, and they're very scrawny and tiny too, so they struggle with putting on weight. There are so many. And the painful thing then that these if they go unchecked, then they perpetuate, especially on the social function.
Yes.
They could end up getting in trouble a lot and being misunderstood as being delinquents, as opposed from just having a disorder that was caused or that occurred when they were still in the womb.
Do our schools know about these kinds of things? Have our schools sort of, it's going to sound weird, but are our teachers or even the schools educated about this in order to deal with it on top of every other thing that they need to deal with when it concerns children?
The very painful thing is the underprivileged school of where the masses of South African children are
Yes.
at do not have facilities to even recognize that these children have a condition. This is just a naughty, awkward-looking child to them. They just look odd and they are very naughty. Right, so they get a lot of backlash and a lot of criticism, which just worsens the situation. And worse, when they go home, they also don't have informed parents. But yes, we do have, on the privileged side, parents that know and can take their children to specialists to have them assisted to kind of regulate how much the damage or the impairments affect them.
Let's see what else Tsakane wants to ask.
Ke kgopela go tseba gore na ke dijo tse di feng tse morwedi a ka tshwanetseng a se ke a di ja.
It's a really serious issue, this, and what makes me sad is that I feel like we are not taking it seriously because, until today, I wasn't aware about how serious this is. All I knew is that when you're pregnant, don't consume alcohol, but I had no idea how serious it is.
The detrimental effects it has on the child's well-being.
So you're saying things like these, like things with sweets. I'm imagining it is the high count of sugar and fat, right?
And the type or the kind of fat as well, strongly saturated fats, processed, deep fried, and all these other things are a big no-no during pregnancy, and I'll explain shortly why.
Especially the first trimester, sorry, because you've said...
Especially the first trimester, because this is where the most important part, like the brain, starts to develop. And remember, one of the things for brain health is what? Healthy fats, right?
Yes.
So if we are using the wrong type of fats, my principle is that we become what we eat. Remember, we all say that you are what you eat.
True.
And this little tiny life is being formed on the quality of nutrition that it receives. But that's not the only thing. I mean, we've got very processed flours, high amounts of sugars, and you know what they do? They cause obesity. And when the mother is obese, she's predisposed to, they call it gestational diabetes, which could affect the health of the child as well, pre and post after birth. And I know when we are pregnant, we struggle with cravings.
There we go.
And that is a challenge, but I always say when you consider the value of this little precious person you're bringing into the world, it should be enough to motivate us, to do better as the carriers of life.
I feel like there's 2 or 3 more items that we can round this off with.
Absolutely. One of the things as well that pregnant women should avoid is red, unpasteurized or raw meat. Right? So that steak that has some bloodish in it, you don't want to be having unpasteurized meat or unpasteurized milk or unpasteurized honey.
Unpasteurized honey?
Yes.
Okay, what's in there? What does it do?
So it's basically bacteria. All these E. colis and all these whatnots can grow in there.
It's not the good, it's the bad bacteria, not the good bacteria.
That's the bad one that we do not want. So it would be good to avoid such as well.
Thank you for that. Okay, let us tackle her last question.
Ke be ke kgopela go tseba gore na ke dijo tse di feng tse morwedi a ka di jang gore a humane ngwana a tle a phedile gabotse.
There we go. What are some of the foods?
Now, that's my favorite.
I like that. Now we're going to the good life. Yes.
Right? They make me feel very hopeful.
Yes. Because there is hope.
There is hope.
Okay.
There is hope.
But you see, the thing about the good food is that it's almost like you need to know it and be attracted to it. But if you don't know
Education is important. And learning to prepare our foods is very important too, so that we can enjoy it.
But you don't eat brown rice, but when you eat brown rice, do you know what I mean? So people want to eat their white rice, people want to eat their white bread. It's still not understandable. So what have you got to say about it? Especially look at these pumpkin seeds.
Oh, man.
Me and you understand this because we love this, but not many people do.
Absolutely. These look amazing and these look gorgeous.
So a pregnant woman should eat these kinds of things.
Pregnant women, firstly, I don't want to go ahead of you. Okay, there we go. We are done. Everything's right here.
Yes.
One of the things that are very important, we have 5 groups of food, right? We have grains.
Right.
We have legumes, or what we call protein, protein, legumes, and meat, and all these other things.
Right.
We have basically our seeds, and nuts, and all these other things. Then we have fruits and vegetables, and we also have. I'll remember the fifth as we go around.
We should know
right?
this from school.
You know, we all should know our 5.
Yes.
But basically, what is very important is not just grains. What type of grains? Remember, we had grains there. Pizza is a grain, but it's not a whole, complete grain. So we want them to be eating whole grains. The reason is processed grains or refined grains like ipapa, leatoya magwinya, and stuff like that basically do not have nutrition, number one. Nutrition is in the brown. The darker the pigmentation, the higher its nutrient value. Simple, right? Then another important thing, seeds. Seeds.
But now I'm not a bird.
Rabbit food.
No one eat. Yes.
Bird food.
Yes.
Your little one needs bird and rabbit food, right? For brain development and hormonal balance. You know, we do you see that those dark patches that women get when they are pregnant?
Yes.
They are not necessary. They shouldn't be there. This is when we have high levels of estrogen during pregnancy.
So it's a hormonal imbalance.
So they are higher than normal. It's a hormonal imbalance.
Yeah.
And apart from just appearance, it can also affect many other things like stalling labor and stuff like that, right? So seeds are very important for that. Even your baby, you know, the baby's skin. Have you noticed when little ones are born, they have a lot of skin issues at birth?
Yes.
They shouldn't be. That means their body's also battling certain toxins that they shouldn't be battling. So eating such things will help them develop healthy, beautiful skin. Seeds and nuts fall in the same category.
Yes.
Fats, which is amazing for brain development.
Things like your avocados, which are the good fats.
It's even shaped and has a little baby inside.
It tells you.
To tell us what we need it for. Other things that pregnant women need to be having, of course, is fruit and vegetables. So one of the things is that I believe we came from dust we eat. We need to eat more natural foods.
Thank you.
More natural foods to secure the health of this little one. So you want your bananas for your potassiums, you want your vitamin C's to strengthen immunity. You know, when you're pregnant, the immunity of the mother is a lot more compromised. Right. So they really want to make sure they've got good immunity. And then we also talk about things like calcium. We get it from greens.
Exactly.
You can get your calcium, your iron, which is very important in the first trimester more than any other time, right? Almonds have high levels of iron. Greens as well. Brown rice, again, also has quite a good content of iron.
The importance of water.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, water is very important. I always say that's Earth's best beverage.
Okay.
Right? That's what we want to keep. We know that we need to be drinking 6 to 8 glasses of water daily. That's very important. So pregnant women should. And good bacteria in the yogurt. And gut flora in the yogurt. We also have lactose intolerant or more plant-based individuals. There are gut flora or good probiotic replacements, kombuchas or nutritional yeast flakes and stuff like that.
Those
that will help them have the probiotics if they are not consuming dairy.
I'm not a fan of cow's milk.
Neither am I.
And they say calcium, but I'm like, there's other sources of calcium besides cow's milk. There we go. So what do you say about women pregnant drinking cow's milk?
You know, there's a lot of controversy around cow's milk, but I will present fairly that the levels of hormonal imbalance that it causes, I would suggest that we can, there are other alternatives. If you want milk, I'll say try goat's milk at least. Almond milk, soy, amazing. Maybe. Soy milk is I know even soy, people have an issue about there's rice milk, there's almond milk, there's oat milk, there's coconut milk.
The issue might be iadura. But then again I say, but you're not eating red meat. So you're not eating meat. So hey, here we go. Get yourself some almond.
Opportunity cost, right?
Here we go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Wow. I just love her. After the break, we'll travel back to Tsakane to hear what she has learned from our expert. Stay Stay tuned. Siyabuya manje. Welcome back. Osasenam lagu Dijo le Bophelo on SABC2. When we met Tsakane earlier on live show, nebefuna ukwazi ukuthi what is fetal alcohol syndrome, IFAS, and if there are foods her daughter should avoid during her pregnancy and what foods she should eat to have a healthy pregnancy. She has seen a conversation no Kgothatso online. Now let's touch base with Tsakane to find out what she has picked up from today's chat with the expert.
Ke a leboga Dijo le Bophelo show ya rena ya ruta nna ke tlo kgona go thusha ngwana ka gore a kgone go khumana ngwana wa phetseng ga botse. Ke a leboga Dijo le Bophelo nna ke kwishishe aspect e re problem ya ngwana ka ke addiction. So nna ke tlo thusha ngwana ka gore a change bophelo bo la bophelang a kgone go phela bophelo bo bo right. Le nna ke be ke tshogile kudu ge ke gore fetal alcohol syndrome e kotsi ga ka mo ngwaneng. So no ke na le nnete ya gore ngwana ka le yena o tlo change. Dijo le Bophelo ba nrutile gore ke reke dijo tse di feng tse di agang mmele ke tlo make sure gore kgwedi engwe le engwe ke dira grocery list e ba le ditofu name ready ke mai ke cucumber ke broccoli ke di lentils ke di beans ke di fruits le metsi. Ke a leboga Dijo le Bophelo show ya nna ya ruta e bile ya agisha ke nagana re a ya thusha nna ke le e thushe bo mme ba bangwe le bana ba bona ba neng ba enya ka thusho ba ihloka.
Iphela kanjena ishow yethu namhlanje kodwa ningastress niyazi ukuthi ishow iyaqhubeka online angilahlele ngetweet uthi @Dijo le Bophelo or ungiface ku Facebook Dijo le Bophelo la ku Instagram or wangi-email uthi dijolebophelo@sabc.co.za. Bakithi ningakhohlwa ukuthi le show yenzelwe nina ukuthi nisibuze zonke bonke mayelana nokudla ngoba ngaphandle kwemibuzo yenu awudololo iDijo le Bophelo. So please sibuzeni bo via social media or email or vele ufakite kube fit ugijime uye postini. Kwazi bani mhlambe umbuzo wakho will be chosen as the question of the day for next week's show. Masitangane la kwa Dijo le Bophelo on SABC2 for more Dijo le Bophelo. Uzobona la i-date uzobukhona. Bye bye.